Hey, what's going on everybody? Alex here with Freedom Mowers. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today we are going to be checking out another crusty mower. What a surprise, right? This last week I got contacted to if I wanted to come pick up a free riding mower, and I didn't have any other information besides that. So I went to check it out, and it is a, not sure the year, it's another DYT4000, which if you guys have seen my other videos or the playlist, I have a red DYT4000 over there that was all ready to go, and come to find out had a bad camshaft. So it was either replace the camshaft in that, which I was planning on getting to, or if I ever came across another motor, which is kind of what I'm planning on doing with this, if it does run. This thing's in pretty rough condition. It's been sitting for a while. He said the mower deck on it was Swiss cheese, and he didn't even have the deck anymore. I think it went to the scrap metal. You know, rust, mildew, paint flaking, everything on it. The typical broken out front grille, because on my other one I still have most of it, but it's cracked at the bottom. This one's completely missing. And if you guys are familiar with engines, you'll already know what's in here, looking at that valve cover. The guy told me that they had the engine swapped, but I'm not sure if they did or not. Not sure if they ever offered the Kohler. This would have been, I don't know, the sticker's on kind of crooked too. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. Anyways, says it's a SV600S, which I looked up is a 20 horsepower single cylinder Kohler Courage. Reason obviously for being a good candidate for an engine swap for the other one, mainly is because it's electronic PTO already. So should have the alternator set up to run what it needs for the electronic PTO if this does run. And so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it. I planned on using this as a parts machine. If it does run, I'll probably test it to see if the hydro trans works. That way I'll know if that's something I want to keep on here as well for future mowers. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I haven't unstrapped it. I got it home the other day, and wanted to show you guys the process of me trying to get this engine going. So I'm gonna get it unstrapped. I think both tires on the other side are flat, and so I'll get those aired up and get this thing over to the shop, and we'll start working on it. All right, well, they seem to be holding enough air to get it over here. I'm kind of out of breath because even when the hydrostatic released on here, it was still a bear to kind of just push right over here. I didn't go very far. All right, so I'll probably just be working right out here next to the shop today. Sun's out, and it's been cold. We're about like 55 degrees today. I did notice there's about a half tank of fuel in here, and this thing has a big rear tank, and it smells terrible. Fuel filter is as dry as can be. Guess right off the bat, I'll set you guys up on the tripod. Check the oil on here. Make sure you guys can see. I don't smell any fuel, which I didn't think I would since that filter's so dry, and there's a half tank of gas, but oil doesn't look too bad. It's up to the full line. Guess we'll go ahead and put the parking brake on. And I don't think there should be any other safeties on here. I guess what I'll go ahead and do is just hook up the jumper pack right to the cables, and we'll see if we can see if it'll at least do something for us, if we can get it turning over. All right, got the cables on here, and First thing I wanted to check too, well, first see if we get any power. All right, so I can hear that. It's gonna be in the shade, but has the fuel solenoid. You can hear that clicking on. So we're getting power to the key switch at least. I can hear the PTO. So we're turning over. I don't see anything pulling up from the tank, but that might be for the best. I'm a little nervous about trying to see if that fuel will even fire. I guess I'll just go ahead and take the air box off and we'll just hit it with some starting fluid, see if we got spark, see if it'll kick over. See how this filter looks. Some old roaches down in there. Filter doesn't look terrible. Oh yeah, there's a nice baby roach right in there. That's great. All right, let's hit this thing with some spray and put the choke on. See what we get. Brake's still on. There we go. There's like dust flying around in that fuel filter. Well, sweet. Kicked right over. Sounded good. I didn't hear any knocking. Let me sit you guys down. I'll put you on the tripod and maybe I can just feed this thing for a minute on some carb spray and just make sure we don't hear any bottom end noise or anything like that. Then if that's good, I guess we'll see about this carburetor on here, if it's able to be saved. Hopefully you guys can see here. The lighting's kind of bad today. There we go. Sounds pretty good. Still never drew anything up from the tank, which is fine. I almost would rather prefer it that way. So I guess what we'll do, I think what I want to do is try to, if you guys can see, I think I'm just going to try to disconnect yeah, I'll probably just try to disconnect on this side and we'll just kind of bottle feed some fuel down in there and see if this carburetor is even able to run on its own, and if not, we'll dive into it. If it does, then we'll take off the other side of the fuel pump and see if we can get it to draw fuel up through a separate container to see if this pump's working too. But motor sounds good, so that's great. All the other stuff be pretty relatively easy to fix. So let me go get something set up so we can kind of bottle feed this and see if it'll run on its own gas. All right, so real quick, I just got the carburetor side of the fuel hose off, and I just got some fresh gas in this bottle here. I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of, if I can even do this one-handed, see if I can just kind of fill up the tube here and see if I can fill up the carburetor bowl, and we'll just see if it'll run for a minute. That should be enough gas right there to fill it, if it is gonna run. I could hear the solenoid opening up earlier, which should fuel solenoid. It's gonna allow that fuel to go travel up. All right, see if anything happens. Choke on. All right, guys, well, I kid you not, I turned the camera off and I was like, well, let me try to just try it a couple more times on fuel to see if it clears up, and it seemed to clear itself right up. I'm gonna try to fill this inlet line right here basically up to the top of the hose. Yeah, it's starting to leak out there, so we should be full of fuel basically all the way down to the carburetor. It idled back and everything. Awesome. Man, that's a smooth runner too. Not really a big fan of the Kohler Courage engines because of the well, multiple issues, but a lot of times the where the cases meet up towards the top, that's basically what the sump is on these, and they basically vibrate themselves loose and the whole motor starts to crack apart. So I will take the top cover off from here and you know, kind of just check over everything, but overall that's a smooth runner. I don't think that carb really needs any work at all, to be honest. But we still had absolutely nothing priming up from the pump. So what I would like to do is, I think actually I've got like a little bottle set up actually on the Custom 7 here. So probably what I'll do is just put some fresh gas in it, and we'll see if this pump is going to draw up any fuel, and then just see if the fuel pump is good on here. So we'll just kind of diagnose that real quick, and after that I don't really know. I think it'll be basically ready for I'll check. We'll get it running and I'll check to make sure that it's putting out voltage and everything too. That way we know it will be good for the to put out power for the electronic PTO and to keep the system charged when we swap it over to the other one. So let me get it set up here and we'll test this fuel pump. All right. So I've just got a little separate fuel bottle here, Gatorade bottle with a fuel line down in it. So if the pump is working, it should draw right up here and we should get fuel out from this side. So we'll go ahead and crank it over here for a minute and see if it draws up fuel or not. So it looks like fuel pump is not pumping fuel, and that could be for either one, the diaphragm is bad on the inside, or two, where this hose connects for crankcase pulse or crankcase pressure to pulse the pump inside might be bad too. So I am going to go ahead and I'll get these top cover bolts loosened up, and we'll take a look at that. Alright, well I just got the top cover off. It's just 4 bolts, and then you just got to take the dipstick out of the way. And I started to check the torque on these sump bolts. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but that one didn't budge. But I just checked this one and this one with a 1/4 inch ratchet, and they were loose. So I'm gonna go around here and just tighten up these bolts now that we're underneath of this cover. And I was able to get the pump to work. I'll show you guys. I know this light is terrible today, I'm sorry. It's just kind of the sun's blowing out everything, but this hose is actually still pretty flexible on here, coming from the crankcase. And what I did is I thought about it for a minute, and I was wondering if the diaphragm in here was just a little bit dry. So I took the fuel line I had on this side off. I kind of turned it up, and I poured some fuel from the other jug into it, just to get some gas inside of the diaphragm. And when I did that, it started to pump out the other side. So I put it back down into the bottle here, and I'll show you guys. So now we've got the line running right in there, and I'm only gonna run it for a second because you guys are gonna see the gas spewing out. Whoops. Of course, now starter's locked up. So you guys can see the fuel is flowing. So the pump looks good. I'm just gonna go ahead and torque down these bolts, and then we will just connect back up the fuel pump to that line and see if we can get this thing running here for a few minutes. Then we can check the voltage coming off the motor, and I also want to check to see if the hydrostatic trans works on it as well. So let me get this torqued down and we'll move forward. All right, we should be pretty good here, hopefully, to run. There are 2 bolts that I had to get in here with an open end wrench to get, and both of these, after I snugged up the other front ones, were like finger tight. So I went ahead and just kind of snugged everything down. I did not use torque specs, so you guys can bash me all you want. I just snugged them down. And let's see, I've got the multimeter on right now at 1279. I went ahead and hooked up the fuel pump, so I think we should be pretty much set here to go ahead and crank up and kind of just test everything out. Of course, the starter wants to act up now. I don't think we got enough juice to even kick this over now. So yeah, we got a good charging on the system. If I need to replace the fuel pump, I will. Not a big deal. carb seems to be working decent. We'll have to look at the starter on that, and other than that, I think we're pretty solid. I mean, even the muffler and everything seems to be good on it. I didn't hear any excessive noise or holes out of it. So I will look at the harnesses. I believe the harnesses are going to be the same as far as kind of just a plug and play swap, seeing as how it's basically the same lawn tractor, probably just a couple different years apart. And yeah, so I think we'll kind of leave it here on this one today. I'll just get kind of things buttoned up and start getting everything prepped on the other mower. And so yeah, we'll have another future content on doing the engine swap on that one. But so far it seems like we are good to go on getting this old DYT4000 going with the Kohler Courage. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I hopefully explained things enough where you guys kind of understand what I was doing here, and just trying to make sure that we had a compatible motor to swap over to the other one. And I think we're good. So just a few things to tidy up here, and I think we're gonna have a good runner. So I appreciate you guys checking in, and thank you for all the new viewers and the new subscribers. I really appreciate you all tuning into the channel. And if you are new here, please think about hitting that subscribe below. I've got a ton more content coming. This summer we're gonna be working on some other stuff too. I've got a pit bike we're gonna be working on, so that's a little spoiler alert. And we're gonna have go-karts, mini bikes, more lawn tractor content, antique lawn tractor content, so all kinds of fun stuff. So stay tuned. I really appreciate you guys joining in. And on that note, let freedom ring, let those small engines sing. I'll see you guys next time.